So here we'll be discussing about the IGA terminologies. Okay, so we have the IGA access management and we have the PAM terminologies. Okay, so today we'll cover, let's say, another 10-15 minutes of IGA, extend it tomorrow, then do AM, then Thursday PAM, and then Friday we'll leave you for Tech Talk. Okay, fine. So when we talk about IGA, you have a user. Okay, user goes through a different journey. Different journey. Let's say the first journey is user joins an organization. They get promoted. They get moved to a different role. They leave the organization. So ULM, user lifecycle management, the basic is how do you manage someone who joins the organization? How do you manage someone who has been moved to a different role? And how do you manage someone who has been who has left the organization? Because every and that's where systems like SailPoint come into picture. Okay. So here every employee in an organization has a digital identity. Everyone. That is the goal of IAM. One digital identity per individual.
Okay.
If you have multiple, that means the principle is wrong. You cannot say that you log in with 5 IDs into 6 different applications or 20 different applications and we are achieving IAM. Okay. The main goal is that we need to have one digital identity per individual. So every employee has this from the moment they join till they leave. Okay. IAM manages this journey. That is called user life cycle management, ULM. Now, why it matters? Because if your joiner is good, mover is good, leaver is good, it ensures that you are productive. The entire productivity of the user is maintained. Right? Second, if you are able to manage them well and ensure that the policies of leaver is good, you are achieving security and compliance. Because in case if someone leaves the organization and their account is roaming around, what is the biggest risk?
Somebody can use that and create some trouble for the organization.
Yes. Orphan accounts
Identity
roaming
theft.
around, identity thefts, account
Sorry?
takeovers.
Yeah,
Orphan
account
accounts will be
takeovers.
there.
Yeah.
They are called orphan account. Any account which is unmanaged, they are left over. They are called orphan accounts. Okay. So these are the different threats. Now, our goal, right, whenever you are building up any system, is to give the right user access at the right time, removal of access when it is not needed, and ensuring by doing all of this, you are compliance ready. Okay, because IGA as a tool, the primary driver, security is there, but compliance is the primary driver for IGA systems. You should keep this in mind. Main thing is compliance. Okay. So here you have the removal of access removal. So unmanaged access, timely access provisioning, compliance and audit, and unmanaged access, risk of compliance, and secure access control. So efficient compliance and security, risk and compliance issues, meet regulatory and access control, revoke access when needed, and grant access when needed. So when you're doing this, right user for the right app with the right level of access for the right time and for right reason. If you're able to manage this policy every time, you have solved half of the 70% of your policy is correct. The 30% is basically if they need it in this order or not. Let's say application could be a different application. Access could be a different access. Time could change. Reason could change and user could change. But if for those set, if you're able to manage this, 70% of your policy is correct. Okay, so that's the main goal of IGA systems like SailPoint, Savient, One Entity Manager, Zluri, Symmetry, Observe ID, many. Yeah. We discuss about this. Importance of IGA helps maintain regulatory compliance, mitigates risk, enhances operational efficiency through automation. Okay, so these are the main three reasons why you use. Now, the component discussion. The first one is JML, right? Joiner, mover, lever. We have discussed this. Then comes access request manager. See, a user is inside your system and they need access to an application. How will you give them? There has to be a process,
Yeah.
right? So that is called access request. The request access allowing users to request the access to systems and ensuring proper approvals are in place. That A user requesting access to a B application, but
Yeah.
it goes through an approval to C and D on the
Yeah.
top. Okay, once this is approved, then the user is getting access. And this also comes under the management because now you are playing around, you are managing these apps,
Mm.
right? The user is giving access and all. The other thing is self-service password capabilities. Okay, here you let the identity reset their password, manage their MFA, add a new device, forget a new device, all the basic capabilities which has been self-service, or else the help desk will be bombarded with tickets.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is also one thing. Then another thing is when we talk about management, management is also about giving access to certain applications. So how that access is granted? That is granted through role-based, ABAC, and different thing. So here, if you see, a user journey started, right? Now, when a user is created by the engine, there are different subsections they have, right? And one of the type of access is called birthright access
Mm.
that you give to the user immediately when they are
In
born,
this.
I would say, or the account is created, like Outlook, email,
Mm.
Teams, right? Your basic payroll, workday. These are the basic that you don't have to request.
Yeah.
Okay, how is that possible? That is part of the joiner process.
Mm.
Okay. Now, when they are created, those data is fed here into the engine through the policy, and then there are different entitlements that are created. What is an entitlement? Entitlement is a piece of access.
Mm-hmm.
That means read only access to database. Entitlement 2 is read edit access to payroll system. This
Mm-hmm.
is full admin access to server. Now you will create a finance role which will where all these entitlements will be tagged.
Mm.
So if someone has requested a access after the birthright, they now want to get into RBAC, the role. Based on the finance, the thing is, people, let's say if this is one user. Now this user will request access to an app based on the roles and responsibilities. Right? This guy has requested the access. Okay. Now, when this guy is getting access, how is it getting the access? We know RBAC is give access based on the roles and responsibilities, role-based
Yeah.
access control. But then a user starts the journey, requests, and this is what is kept on the backend. Different entitlements tagged to certain permissions. All these permissions and entitlements tagged to a role. And when a user requests, they will access a role which is eventually tagged to a group.
Mm.
Okay. So when it is tagged to a group, this group is what the user will get access to. And this
Okay.
group will eventually give them access to this role. This role will give them access to these entitlements.
Mm. Okay.
And the process you repeated for many people based on the roles and responsibilities is called role-based access control. Okay, assigning role uh, based on roles within the organization. So then there is one more called it's not covered called ABAC, attribute-based access control. Okay,
Feedback. Okay.
that means what happens is, let's say I'll just go back to the drawing. So I'll create few entitlements. Okay. And the people that I'm trying to grant access is India leaders in IT. Okay. Now IT has different functions, but what will role base say is I will give access to only IT or finance. That is role base, right? But if I set up a policy which says India leader IT and all of this, then I have multiple personas, and these are attributes, right, of a user. These are not groups, or else group will be everyone in India. That is one role. Every leader is one role. Every people in IT is one role. If I'm giving blanket access, then there are three different roles. But if I'm picking one attribute, India, leader, IT, that means I have created a combination, and then I can create multiple like this. Because in the group-based policy, right, role-based, everywhere now you have to tag them to a role. But this persona you can like create a change and play around, right? Tomorrow in IT, you're saying they have five, they have 10 different applications which they need access to, right? You can also add finance. So finance and IT leaders in India will get access to 10 applications. And users have different attributes, right? Their location, job,
Okay, okay.
functions, right?
Mm,
Title. But
okay.
there'll be 10 different things which will constitute a role, right? Role is static. Finance role is finance role. There is no one else. But if you
Mm-hmm.
want to create a dynamic role, that is where you use ABAC. Because now not only finance, IT, everything come
Yeah.
under this. Now, when you have put all of this, what do you get? You get the regulatory benefit because, as I said, IGA's primary driver is compliance. When you are starting to put all these, you are able to mitigate against GDPR, HIPAA, PCI DSS, SAMA, right? Any compliance that you see, okay, across the globe. And as a part of compliance, you need to provide auditing and reporting. That is also the IGA tool will provide you. So one of the main driver is compliance. Second driver is your risk mitigation. You are in a certain stage in a risk position, you go to a certain level, right? Risk position. Let's say maturity 3. We're in maturity 1. So this is also and why you're doing so that you can reduce the risk of insider threats, external attacks, right? And eventually you're protecting against sensitive data, reducing the exposure to breaches. So risk mitigation is the next one. And because you're doing all of these operational things, automated thing, you're kind of increasing the operational efficiency. Automation of access provisioning, deprovisioning, reducing manual effort, streamlining access, all of this, right? But at the same time, you'll have challenges also. IG, as I said, it is not a simple thing. Implementation is a really pain. The complexity. If it's a simple, like today I was talking to a customer, they have everything very standard. So upgrade, installation, setup, everything is very simple here. Nothing. No gaps or no issues will be there. Okay. Second is, but the moment you have custom connectors, custom workflows, some third-party users, a lot of things, then it becomes complex. Then the other is keeping up with dynamic environments. There is cloud, hybrid, like a lot of systems keep changing, right? AI, agentic, and so many things. So then how do you keep that sync? And whenever you're implementing these things, 50% of the time you'll have a user resistance because everyone from many, many, many years are used to a certain process. So suddenly you will change the process, right? I mean, it takes like, or we have projects, right? If you look from a technical process, technical capabilities, the project life cycle is 3 weeks. Okay, from a technical challenge, you bring application, integrate, done, or onboard them, done. But the moment everything has to be should be aligned with the user expectation, right? They should be adopting that. It takes 8 months to deliver the project. 1 year. Right now, I'm doing a project. Like the policy change, you know how much time it takes to change the policy. Once we get the approval, Policy change time is 5 minutes. One thing. Integration technicality, there is nothing, right? If you look from a perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. So user resistance, dynamic environment changes, and complexities are the main challenges of the overall IGA scenario.
Yeah.
So with this, we wrap up the IGA terminologies.